Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. This is Anthony.
And this is James. We usually glorify films, but, we're going to have a little fun today because every year there are some stinkers, and we think there are quite a few this year. And this list is going to be a combination of movies we've seen as well as critical responses to movies that have come out that are, generally in the same direction of it being pretty bad.
Yeah, if I see a movie that has terrible reviews all across the board, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, we haven't seen Home Sweet Alone, obviously, but that's on this list.
Yeah, so we're giving you quick reviews of them so you don't have to watch them. And also, we've seen about half of these, so we can tell you from personal experience that they are not very good at all.
And you know what? If you saw some of these, and you liked them, good for you. Don't let us tell you otherwise. It's your life. It's a subjective thing. I hope you enjoyed the hell out of these. If you disagree with us, that's totally fine with us. This is just how we feel, and we're just gonna have a little fun. So don't take it personally. It's nothing. It's not an attack against you. We just, we tell how it is sometimes, And we try to.
There were plenty of bombs this year.
All right, let's start off with easily the worst movie of the year, which was so bad that within 5 minutes we were like, should we turn it off or just keep watching, just to see how bad it is? And that is Halloween Kills.
This movie was shockingly bad because the first one was pretty good. I think David Gordon Green and Danny McBride did a good job with the reboot, but this sequel to Halloween, it was just atrocious. And by 20 minutes in, we were laughing at it, literally laughing at how bad it was.
The trailer was great too.
Yeah, great trailer, highly anticipated, very successful. This made a ton of money, and it does have good kills. The gore is good if you like that kind of stuff, and we do like gore and stuff, so it's fun to see. But the writing, it's one of the worst scripts I've ever seen in my life. The entire idea of people from the original Halloween are grown-ups and evil dies tonight and
evil dies tonight. Evil. What are you talking about?
The entire town is up in arms trying to find Michael Myers. It's so bad.
But it's not even that as a horrible concept, but just the dialogue is so bad. The concepts of the situations that the actors and characters get themselves in are ridiculous. Laurie gets stabbed horrifically in the stomach in the first one, and then it immediately follows her to the hospital. She has intense surgery, her stomach is torn open, and then she's standing up, walking around totally what are you? There's no freaking way you'd be standing up without a ton of drugs, and you'd be on so many drugs that you wouldn't even be able to keep your eyes open.
She'd be out for a day.
Easily
out cold,
but she's awake. It's ridiculous, stuff like that.
And some of the kills are really bad, the car scene when he's on top of the car and the people inside. How he kills them is so stupid, and they have a gun and no one fires the gun at the roof. And
he's walking on the roof, just shoot it up in the air.
It's so terrible.
And she's just shooting at the empty windows.
Oh my
no
God!
One there. It's just it was a really annoying movie to watch.
Yeah, and then the entire hospital sequence of the crowd, the mob is going after the wrong guy, thinking it's Michael Myers. This guy, this other mental patient who escaped, and then Laurie's daughter tries to save him, and it's a 20-minute sequence. I thought it was gonna be a couple minutes. I was like, okay, we can get this over with, but it never ended, and it kept going.
In that couple where Michael breaks into their house, and they're just all right, let's find out who it is. Let's lock the doors and kill him. What the fuck are you
guys
doing?
Talking about?
Get the hell out of there!
Everyone knows Michael Myers is killing people.
Even if it's just a normal person or a killer, get the hell out of the house. Who do you guys think you are? Navy SEALs? You're going up there with a stick?
Yeah.
In a bathrobe? What is going on? This whole movie just pissed me off, but we kept watching it. I don't know how it's 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know how it's 64% audience score. No offense if you like this movie. We did not very much.
All it had going for it were some pretty gruesome deaths, but that was it. And that's not enough.
The firefighter sequence,
so dumb.
Why are the firefighters attacking him with weapons like they're in the army?
Yeah, so Michael steps out of the burning house, and the firefighters immediately gear up to fight him. It's how do they know that he's a serial killer? Why don't they think he's someone who just he has escaped the house? They should be sir, we're gonna help you. They should go to help him.
Even if they watched him kill somebody, that's not a firefighter's job. Is to go after somebody with a table saw.
Yeah.
What?
Not at all.
Made no sense.
Oh my God, man.
All right, that one was pretty bad.
Next up, we have Many Saints of Newark, which is a 6.3 on IMDb, a 71% on critics on Rotten Tomatoes, and then a 59% audience score Rotten Tomatoes. However, I highly disagree with all of these ratings. You and I tried to watch it. We actually couldn't finish it. Being fans of The Sopranos, and the way this movie was marketed as being the origin story of Tony Soprano origins. But when you watch this movie, It is far from that. It's far from being an Italian mobster movie. This movie is not about Italian gangsters. There may be Italian mobsters in the cast, but it has nothing to do with mob life at all.
Yeah, and it doesn't really make sense when you watch The Sopranos and the characters. This movie really doesn't make sense in terms of connecting the characters and the storylines and everything. It just was not a Sopranos movie. I just don't think it was very good at all.
I don't think any of the characters were interesting at all. Not even Tony, not even his uncle.
I didn't even like his uncle at all.
The writing was just not there. It was so boring. Nothing was really happening. I didn't really understand what the plot was even halfway into the movie. What exactly the entire point of the movie was, and it was just such a letdown because it had an interesting trailer. And it looked like they're building.
I thought the trailer was sick.
It looks like they're building a franchise, but it is just just flat out not a good movie, unfortunately.
Next up, The Card Counter, which we were pretty excited about. This stars Oscar Isaac, who's a tremendous actor. This is written by the same writer of Taxi Driver. So
Paul
we were
Schrader.
like, Paul Schrader. So like, hey, this is gonna be pretty cool. IMDb, it's at 6.2. Rotten Tomatoes, 86%. Critics, I think this is just a bunch of people being very pretentious and making it sound like, oh, Paul Schrader wrote it, and I get the big metaphors. We get it. They're blatant metaphors. You can all figure it out. Audience score is 42%, but this was maybe the most boring movie I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even kidding. It's up there. Like 50 minutes into the movie, I was like looking at Anthony like, should I say I want to leave? Or just I was like, did the armrests move up so I can just lay down and relax? Because it was so horrendously slow and boring. I get what he was doing. I get the metaphors. I get the symbolism. I get it all. But it was just so slow. Nothing happens for most of it. The amount of drinks that get ordered in this film. Why do we have to watch literally 30 drinks get ordered? Every time we have to watch the whole, hey, what would you like to drink? Oh, can I get this on the rocks? What would you like to drink? Oh, can I get this? We see that like 17 times.
What happens is,
sorry, I'm like screaming.
No. Schrader, he basically, the day in the life, every major character in a movie, there's the day in the life sequence where you see what their world is like, and it's usually a few minutes.
Do it once.
Yeah, but what happens is that never ends.
Why isn't he still taking a shit?
Yeah, it's
like,
just
where's
day
that?
Day in the life, day in the life, day in the life, day in the life. Over and over
boring.
Again. And they just, on top of that, he plays blackjack once, and then he just plays Hold'em the entire movie. He's all like the card counter is just a Hold'em player, which doesn't make sense for it being called the card counter.
Exactly.
Counting cards works in people's benefit. It helps for Hold'em, but like they generally help most with blackjack.
Not even really in Hold'em. A little bit, I guess.
It helps for understanding when the rivers being turned out, what the percentile would be for you betting. But card counting helps big time with blackjack.
That's the whole point of it.
That's why they discourage it so much when you play blackjack.
So it's called the card counter. It doesn't count cards. There's this big metaphor that he's trying to make with the American Industrial War complex and everything like that. But this movie is a huge miss for me.
Yeah, it was such a letdown. Next up, we have Jim's other favorite movie of the year.
Oh my god,
The Little Things.
This movie, I wanted to like it a lot. I love serial killer movies. I love Denzel. But man, this movie is so
great cast,
so poorly edited. This is one of the worst edited movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I couldn't watch this.
We had to turn it off.
I made a video essay about why this movie is so bad. Is all because of the editing, and the cinematography is pretty whack.
But ultimately, the story is just bad too. It's just boring stuff.
Rotten Tomatoes, it's 45%, 67% audience, and then 6.3 on IMDb. But like I'm telling you, watch my video essay. It's on our YouTube channel. It's so poorly edited. It's unwatchable for me. It gave me such a bad headache because the constant cuts. It's like there was one sequence I counted like 12 cuts in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, of just Denzel leaving his house, saying hi to his dog, and then getting in his truck.
It's literally 12 cuts.
Yeah, and
in 10 seconds.
It's a 30-second sequence, and they cut.
It's unbearable to watch.
And it's like that the entire movie. I thought they were gonna just do the opening scene, but even when Rami Malek is investigating the crime scene, like 20 minutes into the movie, I was having difficulty getting my bearings on what the scene was like.
Cinematography's all over the place.
Yeah, I could barely understand like where each character was. Just in this apartment, it's a very simple scene, and it's an open apartment. It's not like they're weaving rooms and stuff. I was having trouble because of how often they were editing and cutting the shots, where people were, who was looking at what, where Rami Malek was even walking towards. I was just like, I was getting anxiety watching this movie.
They were setting the camera up all over every part of every room, which I think is a big no-no for like that exact situation.
And I was wondering, why did Denzel make this movie? But then you saw he got paid $40 million.
It's quite a lot of money.
It's hard to say no to that.
Easy gig.
Yeah, for 2 months of work. Like, I love Denzel. Make your money, man. Do what you got to do. You got a family.
Next up, we have Home Sweet Alone. Home Sweet Home Alone. This is a reboot of Home Alone, obviously.
Who needed
IMDb 3.6, which is horrendous. Rotten Tomatoes 16. Critic, then 12% audience. Oof. We didn't see this movie. The trailer looked really bad. We hate when villains are super empathized and you have like Ellie Kemper and her husband's character as the villains, and they're like, oh, they're like really nice people, but they're going to try to rob a house.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it worked in Fun with Dick and Jane really well, but it doesn't work here.
Well, the reason why it doesn't work with Home Sweet Home Alone is original Home Alone. What works so well is that the fear that if they caught Kevin, they would hurt him or even kill him. There was that fear. And yeah, it's all fun and games and it's a funny movie and it's all played for laughs, but the audience, we know, like, if they catch him, he's done for. And then with this, when you have just two nice people being the bandits, it's like there's no stakes at all. And kind of, it just doesn't have that same pull.
He's got a super soaker. Like, yeah. I don't know. It just doesn't work.
I have a couple of funny IMDb user reviews. I'm just going to read their taglines. Miss Simonetta wrote, I regret all the decisions of my life which have led me to this point. And then Aiden Rates Movies wrote, I'm never having kids.
Next up, Space Jam, the new one, which has an IMDb score of 4.4, which is pretty bad. Rotten Tomatoes 25%, audience score 79%. I didn't think this was going to be a good movie from the get-go, even when the original concept came out, obviously. I don't think you can capture what they did with the original Space Jam. I think Michael Jordan is just... I like
he was a special person.
I like LeBron. I think he's top 3 NBA player all time, top 5 for sure. But like I don't think he's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was on a different stratosphere in terms of fame. He was like Michael Jackson famous.
He made basketball international.
Yeah, so
Michael Jordan did.
I don't think you can really replicate that. And I think the thing that Michael had was the draw. And I think that Mike has some chops when it comes to acting. He's not horrible. I think he's better than LeBron.
He could be good. He could be pretty good.
I think he's better than LeBron, but I just think the story was so much better than the original, and the graphics and everything. I think it worked better.
And this was just a cash grab. It looked like, and it didn't look like there was much heart put into it. And it was all just like something shiny to sell. Again, just terrible reviews. Next up, we have Thunder Force, which stars Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. And we didn't actually see this, but I'll give you a summary. In a world where supervillains are commonplace, two estranged childhood best friends reunite after one devises a treatment that gives them powers to protect their city. So Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer become super-powered heroes to fight nemesis in the city. This has a 4.4 rating on IMDb, a 21% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 22% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I
love both these women. I think they're great actresses. I think Melissa McCarthy is super funny, and I think Octavia Spencer obviously is incredibly talented. Oscar winner. But I think this movie was just not it. Obviously superheroes are what sells, and studios are making as many superhero movies as they can. But I don't think with any kind of characters or actors, this movie would have worked at all.
It just looked like a terrible idea, and the screenplay just the trailer alone, it was not funny at all, and it just looks like it was just a bad script in a bad story. So definitely avoid Thunder Force, guys.
Next up,
we have The Misfits, which stars Pierce Brosnan, and after being recruited by a group of unconventional thieves, renowned criminal Richard Pace finds himself caught up in an elaborate gold heist that promises to have far-reaching implications on his life and the lives of countless others. Okay, so this rating has 4.2 on IMDb, 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 57% on audience score for Rotten Tomatoes. I haven't seen this movie in its entirety, but I did see some of it on a plane from the person sitting ahead of me. And just from watching about like 20 minutes or so off and on, just looking up, because I was just so curious. It was so bad, and I was just fascinated watching this, how terrible the filmmaking was, the sets, the wardrobes were ridiculous, the filmmaking, it was just like, it looked like it was just like a never-ending music video with Pierce Brosnan. And I was just like, just from watching it without even hearing it, I could tell it was terrible.
Yeah, it was a big miss for sure. The cast is not...
When you have Nick Cannon playing like a bad guy, you got a problem.
Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
Nick
Cannon's hilarious, Dad.
Next up, we have Vanquish, which stars Ruby Rose and Morgan Freeman. A mother is trying to put her dark past as a Russian drug courier behind her, but retired cop Damon forces Victoria to do his bidding by holding her daughter hostage. I think this movie, it has the worst ratings so far on all of 2021.
Rotten Tomatoes 5%.
All of them. Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes 5% and a 12% audience score. And then the IMDb score is the lowest that I've seen this year. It's a 2.7 on IMDb.
That's really, really bad.
And this is just really terrible. I actually have a really great critic review headline. The film's most unintentionally self-aware moment is when Damon is saying, "I sleep just fine" to Ruby Rose. You'll do that too if forced to sit through Vanquish. And this,
Just the title,
Yeah.
Vanquish. That's not good.
I saw the trailer and it looks horrible. It looks like it's how did this even get made kind of bad.
Hey, but people got to make movies, I guess. Next up, we have Outside the Wire on IMDb, 5.4, Rotten Tomatoes, 36%. Critic, and then 55% audience. We have not seen this. It looked like a mediocre version of Training Day in a way with the evil military super robot.
Anthony Mackie plays like some kind of android robot, and he's training a young soldier, teaching him the ropes. But then he turns out to be like a bad robot, and he has to stop him. It just looks so bad. And when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I don't know about that. And then I saw all the reviews and responses online, and I was like, yeah, definitely avoiding this one.
Next up, Infinite, which I was hoping it was going to be good. I thought the trailer was really interesting. It stars Mark Wahlberg.
It's about Mark Wahlberg.
Chiwetel Ejiofor, IMDb 5.5, Rotten Tomatoes 16%, very bad. And then audience score is 34%, also very bad. And it's what was it? It's like interdimensional almost, or someone who
It's
has...
Mark Wahlberg is part of like this group of people who can keep being reborn, warriors that are reborn in different eras and times. And
cool concept, but I think just the script probably was its biggest weakness.
It seems like the script was terrible.
Because Antoine Fuqua is a good director, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think even if he can't save that movie, it's probably all script wise.
Yes, definitely. Next up, we have The Woman in the Window, which stars Amy Adams and Gary Oldman, as well as Julianne Moore. Dr. Anna Fox witnesses something she couldn't while keeping tabs on the Russell family across the street. And this is I remember the trailer looked pretty cool, and it was a popular book, but its film adaptation is very poorly received. It has an IMDb score of 5.6, Rotten Tomatoes of 26% critics, and only 33% audience score. So nobody liked this movie. Apparently the performances were just way off. The tone is supposed to be all over the place, and it seems like the movie didn't really know what it was the whole time.
And then we have one left, Awake, IMDb 4.8, Rotten Tomatoes critic 27%, audience 28%. So I think this is the first one where critics and audience are perfectly lined up almost.
And this movie it's just got the most ridiculous concept of like a neighborhood where people become unable to fall asleep anymore, and then one woman's daughter can't sleep, so she has to protect her from these people. That's it.
And this was a Netflix #1 movie. And so I just want to let everybody know, when there's something trending on Netflix, it's probably just because Netflix put it as trending in their top 10.
Yeah.
Because they get full control over that. So
Yeah.
I think that there's a reason why they're putting stuff like that at number
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Just the idea sounds ludicrous.
All right. So that wraps our worst movies of 2021. Can't wait to see next year's list. We do this for fun. We don't want to be mean, but sometimes it's you got to get off your chest. And I'm sorry if you guys like some of these movies and disagree with us. That's totally fine. We completely respect your opinion, and you can bash at us in the comments. That's totally fine with us. Or if you disagree, no big deal. People like what they like, and if you like these movies and enjoyed them, I hope you enjoyed the hell out of them. I hope you had a blast watching them. Don't let us tell you what's good or not. All right? Who are we? Thanks so much for tuning in to Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Find us on all audio streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to check out one of these other videos right here for more content on our favorite films and breaking down all kinds of movie content. Thanks so much.